that you are joining me today. We're kind of messing around on the live times, kind of seeing what works best with everybody's schedule. So I'm hoping that this live time worked great with your schedule. If not, thank you so much for catching the replay, and make sure that you let me know that you caught this replay, by the way. So glad that you're here today. Can't wait to hear your thoughts and your feelings about today's live topic. I think it's a fun one. Of course, everything I do is fun, right? Just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. But no, I'm seriously glad that you're here today. Got a lot to talk about. And in case you've never joined me before, this is your first time being here live with me. I am Jennifer Bassman. I am also known as the Witty Entrepreneur. I am a certified Gallup Strengths Finders coach or strengths coach. And I love helping other entrepreneurs develop their strengths and learn to grow to their fullest potential. But the specific type of entrepreneur that I really enjoy working with, or actually just even specific type person, is someone who is burned out. As someone who burned out themselves, I know that it is a tough road to recovery. And that is why I do this, is because I've got some tips, tricks, and tools and some solutions to help you get out of burnout, to help you climb out of burnout so that you can live a more rewarding life and have a more fulfilling business. While sometimes we don't directly talk about burnout itself, everything we talk about actually directly relates back to burnout itself. So keep that in mind as you're watching. Today's topic actually is another one of my personal experiences that I'm going to share with you, some recent things that have recently happened. And I call this, I was shoulding myself all over the place. Shoulding, Shoulding. I was playing that impossible game to win called Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. And I think that we've all been there. I think we've all played this game with ourselves. And sometimes it happens so naturally and it happens so quickly, we don't even know that the game has started, or that we don't even have a chance. Sometimes we don't even have a chance to stop it in its tracks. But when we do, it is really important to stop this game before it even gets started, before it has even a chance to pass go or go to jail, if you're playing Monopoly terms. But I want to share my experience with this. I was thinking about this because I think that it is incredibly relevant to burnout. It's incredibly relevant to a lot of the emotional turmoil that a lot of us are experiencing right now. And like I said, the other day, I was shoulding all over myself, and it wasn't good. In fact, it was really messy, and it was kind of tough to clean up. I was shoulding myself for not being more organized and more detail oriented. I can't even speak today. Detail oriented. I didn't notice that what had happened is I didn't notice that my book distributor had sent me every single one of the preprints that I ordered. They were supposed to keep half and then ship me the other half. And I didn't notice that they shipped me everything. And I know that it should seem kind of obvious that I would have noticed that they shipped me everything, but I don't know what a certain amount of books looks like. I just saw the boxes and thought that I got what I was supposed to get, because I just kind of assume everybody does their job or does it well. And I don't always take the time to check the shipments. So I ended up getting more than I should have, and it's way too expensive to ship the books back to the distributor, the books that they should have kept. So I had to pay for them to reprint a whole bunch of books to keep in their warehouses to distribute, so that when you order a book online, they can actually ship it out to you. So, it's not the end of the world. It's not the worst mistake that I could have made, but it was an expensive mistake. And I was mad at myself because it was an avoidable mistake. It's something that I could have caught a lot sooner and taken care of, but I didn't. And that's why I coulda, shoulda, woulda started. And I, started down that path of I should have counted the books the second that they got here. And I should have done this, I should have done that. And that I realized that I should have path was a really destructive thought path to be going down. Just, not just because it's a negative path, but because it's a destructive path. It starts that whole, destructive path of stress, that whole cycle of stress, that whole cycle of negativity that is really tough to get out of. And so the thoughts that followed I should have noticed this a lot sooner, so that I could have corrected the mistake. The thoughts that followed that were not very nice to me, to myself, because I was the one that made the mistake. And they weren't very fair to myself either. And the emotional tsunami that began with those intense feelings soon turned into regret, and then turned into guilt, and then turned into overwhelm, all because I didn't count some stinking books in a box. Yeah, it got that bad. And that's when I realized that the destructive thought pattern that I was going down needed to be corrected ASAP. So I want to describe actually what the woulda, coulda, shoulda thought process is, what it actually means. Because when you say woulda, coulda, shoulda, or if I had only done this, or if I had only done that, you're actually feeling regret and guilt over something you feel you should have done, or maybe you shouldn't have done. And it can be for something as simple as not counting books, or it could be something as monumental as missing out on an experience or an opportunity that's really exciting or could have been very beneficial to you. And often these feelings of regret are tied to unrealistic expectations of ourselves. And you might hear yourself saying, or other people saying, I should have had the foresight to see the hellscape of 2020 coming. I would have finished that project yesterday if I had known how busy we were going to be. I could have lost 5 pounds if I hadn't eaten those 6 dozen delicious butter cookies. I mean, hey, it's the holidays. I gotta count that stuff in. But generally, the coulda, woulda, shouldas are built on unrealistic expectations, unknown information, and missed opportunities. That's where those come from. And they're all self inflicted, by the way. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But the regret and the guilt that follow often take you down paths of overwhelming, destructive, emotions that get started or get paired with excuses of why you didn't do what you were supposed to be doing. And basically, we end up playing this mental game with ourselves that we're just not going to win. It's impossible for us to win that game. No matter what we do, there's no strategy that I can share with you to win the woulda, coulda, shoulda game. And you know why we can't win that game? Because we can't change the past. There's nothing you can do about it. It happened. You have to leave it there. So, the regret and the guilt, like I said, take you down these awful paths, and you set yourself up for failure the minute you go down this path, because you can't change the past, right? And you're gonna feel a lot of guilt that inevitably follows right after that. And the guilt that follows doubles down. The guilt that follows actually doubles down on the failure and overwhelms you and keeps you from doing something constructive. So that's kind of why when you say I coulda, woulda, shoulda, and then you have this long list of stuff that you could be doing instead, it's hard to take that constructive path because you've got all these emotions that you're trying to fight in this game. Kind of think of it as going through an obstacle course or through a paintball course or something. You're trying to avoid getting shot with a paintball or something. But, like I said a minute ago, we do this to ourselves. The woulda, coulda, shouldas, they follow expectations, mismanaged expectations, unrealistic expectations that we create ourselves. We set an expectation or a standard that's unrealistic. And when we don't meet those self-inflicted expectations, we get disappointed, we get mad, we get resentful. Insert any negative emotion that you could possibly feel right there. And not only are you hurting yourself with that unrealistic expectation, but you also cause harm with all the negative talk, like I had described that I was going down myself. The stress and the emotion that follows is also very destructive to you mentally and physically. So let me use myself again as an example. Going back to those books that I didn't count. I didn't stop myself, or stop the thought pattern at saying, "You dummy, you should have counted those books." I didn't stop there. Oh no, I didn't stop there. I kept going. And my negative thought process included beating myself up for not being organized or motivated enough to keep track of the shipment. Hey, I've got a little dog who's joined down here, a little Miss Ellie. Oh, hey, Ellie wants to join the show. So here's Ellie, everybody. Ellie doesn't play woulda, coulda, shoulda games. This dog lives with no regret, by the way. Just thought I'd share that with you. But, I got upset with myself for not having enough discipline to follow through on the task of counting those books and, manage the details and moving too fast, just wanting to move forward with other projects, not wanting to do the little detail of counting something. So none of that is good. None of those negative thought processes are good. And those aren't realistic expectations of myself either. Because I know that I am not a detailed kind of person. I probably should have, delegated that task out to an assistant, to Ellie here, to knock out so that it got done, so the error could have been caught. But trying to change that about myself without a plan, trying to change it on the spot is a futile effort. Because it's a habit. It's a habit. And, when it comes to breaking a habit, you got to do it with a plan. And same goes for the discipline I was angry about not having and the lack of organization. So my reaction was totally over the top and totally unnecessary. And it wasn't worth the 10 to 15 minutes of shaming myself that I went through. And I literally should have cut myself off after when I realized what had happened, after I said, crap, I forgot. And I should have just moved on to the next task. So, shoulding ourselves or shoulda, coulda, woulda ourselves is about other people too. See you later, Ellie. Thank you. Unfortunately, most of us have comparisonitis, which is also part of this shoulda explanation. And sometimes, we compare ourselves to other people, and that's where those unrealistic expectations come from, what they're doing, what they have, where they're going. And then we create this expectation or standard that is based on somebody else's talent or somebody else's abilities or somebody else's health and well-being, full of unknowns, basically, because you have no idea what's going on in their life and how they got to that picture perfect moment that they posted on social media, right? So when we see other people, when we see what other people have or what other people are doing, and we think we should have, or we should be doing those things too, I want you to stop and think, just like I do, should we though? Should we be those people? Should we have those things? Should we be doing what they're doing? And my answer to that is always going to be no. No, absolutely not. Without a doubt. Be yourself. Do what you've got to do. And deep down inside, I know that you agree with me. I know that you do. But, you can't help yourself. And sometimes I know I can't help myself when it comes to comparing myself to other people. It's human nature. It just is. And we've talked about that before in a couple of other lives as well. But seeing those vacation pictures, the new clothes, the fact they lost 50 pounds, the job promotions, it's all so motivating to be something you aren't or do something that you probably shouldn't try to do. So you create, based on that result that you think is so enviable, you create this unrealistic expectation for yourself. And I know I do it too, that you're going to go on an equally envious vacation that you can't afford, or take the wrong job just because it offers more money or it's a promotion, but it's not your job. It's not the right fit for you. And it's going to ultimately make you miserable. So I hope you kind of see where I'm going with some of this, that the woulda, coulda, shouldas are not only about regretting something you didn't do, but they lead you to make regrettable choices and don't allow you to be yourself and appreciate who you actually are. So here's what I am doing to beat my woulda, coulda, shouldas. There's a lot of solutions to this, but these are the three that I'm going to focus on. These are the three that are in my plan. And, please feel free to share, as always, below, with some of your solutions and some of your ideas to contradict or to beat the woulda, coulda, shouldas, because I would love to hear more solutions to this. But the three things that I am doing, number one, I'm going to appreciate and remind myself often of my true and natural talents and strengths. Some of them are rare and some of them are gifted, and not everybody can do them. And, I am who I am. I have to appreciate that. That's not meant to be a stubborn statement, like I can't change. It's just that I need to appreciate the uniqueness of who I am, and that there are just some things about me that work, and some things that about other people that work that just wouldn't work for me. Hey, Nicolette, glad you joined. But I want to point out that you know the you can take a Clifton Strengths assessment. I'm a certified Clifton Strengths coach, and it's one of the reasons that I love Clifton Strengths. And I will post a link below to Clifton Strengths so you can learn more about it. But when you take your assessment, you learn what your natural talents are, and you learn what those strengths are that are going to lead you down your true path to success. And they aren't the same strengths that are going to necessarily help another person. So you got to appreciate that. The second thing that I'm going to manage moving forward is managing my expectations of myself, of other people, mostly myself, because I can only control really what's in my own lane, right? But when I am aware of unrealistic expectations of myself, and I'll know that it's an unrealistic expectation because it's going to feel unnatural and it's going to feel impossible. To reimagine the situation on a scale that actually works for me, and my outcome is going to be different anyway, for the same project or the same situation, because I'm me. And the same person that comes into the same scenario is going to have a different outcome as well, because they're them. The third thing that I'm going to do is cut off the woulda, coulda, shouldas in their tracks. In their tracks. I'm really going to work on this because they only lead to negative, destructive patterns of thought. They're just not good for me. It's not going to go anywhere that's going to be helpful. It's not going to go anywhere that's really going to make me be a better person or make me have a better day. So I need to cut them off. I need to stop. I need to breathe. And I need to allow myself some grace to make those mistakes. I'm glad that you joined me today. I am hoping that you are considering how to get rid of your coulda, woulda, shouldas. You may have noticed that you've even done that today, because this is kind of, for most of us, daily habit. It happens at least once a day. But it is possible to get around them, get through them, and break that habit. But I'm glad you joined me, and I would love to hear your feedback and share with me your thoughts and feelings on the woulda, coulda, shouldas, and how you respond to them when it happens to you. What thought pattern do you go down? I would love to know. And when was the last time you did it? What actually ignited a woulda, coulda, shoulda episode for you in your world? You can always share below. You can always share with me through my email at jennifer@jenniferbassman.com. If you're looking for more information about working with me, you can find it at jenniferbassman.com as well. I've got a YouTube channel up. I've got a LinkedIn profile going, and Instagram. I'm all over the place, people. But I'm glad that you were here today. Thanks a bunch, and I look forward to seeing you again.